Funding for Off 90 is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
Cruising your way on this episode of Off 90. It's the best of Season 3. We've covered a lot in this season of Off 90, from museums and musicians, artists and actors, to history and heritage. We'll bring you our favorite stories we've covered this year. It's all just ahead, Off 90. Hi, I'm Barbara Keith. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Off 90. It's hard to believe, but we've already been through 3 seasons of Off 90, digging up the best arts, culture, and history stories from southeastern Minnesota. And this past season was no exception. We crisscrossed the state, from Winona to Mankato, Owatonna to Faribault, and found some incredible people and organizations, all helping to make our part of the state shine. We're going to show you snippets from many of the stories we found this season. We hope they inspire you and give you a little bit of southeastern Minnesota pride. Look at that. Is that cool or what? I love making mosaics because it's kind of unique. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? This one's kind of cool. Isn't that cool? It's like a frog. I mean, lots of people paint and photography and everything, but not so many people work with glass. Look at these rich colors. It's like candy, you know? It's sort of like glass heaven. And so there's a little bit of an allure for me to do something that's a little offbeat. So I think I'll just start collecting some glass. So I need one of those big carts. Time to go for a ride. Mosaics are great because they give me this great feeling while I'm working on them, but I just feel good doing it, being creative. I could put this one next to one of these. When I made a lot of cats, I used this kind of glass for their eyes. It's almost a shame to cut it down because it's just so pretty to just look at it. I'm Barbara Benson Keith and I do stained glass mosaics. Come on down to my shop. One thing I like a lot about mosaics is kind of the graphic quality, and you can't really blend it like paint. But you can blend different colors together, so I really like that about working with mosaics. I start putting it together and deciding what goes where and what would be good. It's a lot like doing a puzzle. If I've been mosaicing all day, sometimes when I'm trying to fall asleep, I see shapes that I can't get out of my head. Actually, for 12 years I was a teacher, and then during that time I took a class in stained glass windows. And so I started just, in the evenings and weekends, just for fun as a hobby. I thought, well, I'm gonna make some mosaics, and I had no idea what I was doing. But I just tried it, and I did one, and then I did another, and then I did another one, and I entered that in the state fair. And that one's second place, and it's a really competitive competition, so I was encouraged to go on. So she kind of started everything. And then I thought, well, why don't I try putting some in galleries? And so galleries said yes, and why don't I? And then the art consultants called me, and things just kind of progressed, one thing to the next. So I didn't really plan that it would be any life-changing thing. It was just another thing to have fun learning to do, and so it just happened that it became my career. I've done about 250 mosaics so far.
I'll be honest, I've been teaching school for 27 years, and I thought I knew a lot about the Civil War. I found out I knew very little about the Civil War.
We're not here to glorify war. Our goal here is to teach people, to show them what the life was like back then, what they went through and how they did it.
They're just following orders, doing their patriotic duty because they think what they're doing is right. Whether they were North or South, they all felt the same thing.
I know guys that are still reenacting in their 70s, and I don't think I'd want to try and outwalk them. We have all different religions, definitely different political views, and we get along. There's something about it that brings, everybody together on it. Union by birth, Confederate by choice. That's about as easy as I can say it.
First South Carolina, fall in!
With the First South Carolina Volunteers, I portray Captain William Haskell.
By the left wheel, march.
Definitely born in South Carolina, grew up on a plantation, was tutored on that plantation, and then attended University in Virginia, and came back, did a little bit of teaching, owned a newspaper man and speaker, and then when the war broke out, signed up with the militia.
Front rank, ready, aim, fire.
Wait for the command. Who fired first? Fire! That was bad. That was bad. So you could get wounded and killed. You could get wounded twice. But we'd like to do this because when we do it today, they're going to, well, look at that. They're firing each other, nobody's dropping. Well, if you do it the way it was actually fought, it'd be over in 5 minutes. So we do this, we try and take as many hits as we can and recycle them back into the line.
A miniature is a condensation of something larger. I don't do insects. I don't do things that are naturally tiny. I make things that are larger, smaller. You can actually hold these things in your hands. It's an easier thing to grasp, and it's not threatening either. You become like a vessel of it. It's really important, the connection between the hands and a miniature object. And I've been exploring it for 15 years. I'm Steve Tomaszek, and I'm a professional whittler. You know, no one grows up thinking they're going to be a whittler. I got started in wood carving when I was a kid, probably around 12, 13 years old. And it wasn't until college that I really took it up as a full-time hobby, as something that I wanted to do every day. And at one point I decided I really want to carve everything. It wasn't until the third or fourth year of college that I actually started doing this every day. And at first I wasn't all that good, so it wasn't like I stood out. You know, I was just the guy that had the bandage on his hand. My carvings range in size from about 1/4 inch up to about 5 inches. I've probably made almost 10,000 carvings. The miniature menagerie is a collection of exotic creatures. It's kind of a loose term. It doesn't mean that I'm building an ark or anything like that. I just have a collection of animals that I'm making, and that includes monsters and beasts, but also stuff out of my own imagination, whatever I can come up with. There's miniature objects all around us. It's just that I'm taking the time to make them special. I'm doing them one at a time, and I'm using my hands to do it.
I'm used to people asking me questions on how we live, and I can see why. They're always wondering, and I guess we don't advertise too much the way we live. It's getting to be quite a bit out there anymore. The more information you have on us, or the more it's out there, the less unique we will be. My grandparents were one of the first people to move out here. They maybe moved in 75. I'm not quite sure, was it 74 or 75? And then my parents decided we're gonna move out here too from Ohio, and that was in 85 then. It was a nice area, I guess, for farming. That was the main reason why they settled into this area. The first people that came around here, you know, that were out looking for a place to move to, stopped here because they thought this would be a good place for us to farm. I grew up Amish, and for somebody that never was Amish and goes Amish, I have no way of telling you what that guy would have to go through. And there's no way I will ever be able to. But I imagine it would be pretty tough. You know, as far as the simple things, as far for you having a bathroom in the house, that would definitely be a big change. And not having a phone or electric, or as far as if he'd want to use the microwave, there is no way to quickly heat up a cup of coffee. Unless you got hot water and the stove going, you can do it. There's also a lot of things that I don't envy you guys for what you have on a lot of things, I guess. We do have our hectic. It seems hectic for us too, but you guys have another level on that one on us. But I don't. You are people just like we are. We're all humans, and the older I get, the more I realize it.
I think altogether in my career of sending out letters, I've gotten hundreds of rejections, maybe even like at least 1,000 maybe, I don't know. There had been times where I took it really hard and I said I was not gonna write anymore and I was just gonna give up. At that time I was like, I have to keep doing this, and if this is just part of the game, then we'll just try something different. And I'll keep trying something different until I find something that works. So I've written, I think, 19 books now. I've sold, I think, over 1.5 million. Kind of stopped keeping track after I sold 1 million. Yeah, about 1.5 million. I'm Amanda Hocking, and I write books, mostly young adult books. The first series that I published was My Blood Approved series, and it's about vampires in Minneapolis. The next series I published was the Trail books, and that's about a girl who finds out she's a changeling. So it's definitely like a paranormal romance. My other series is The Hollows, which is about zombies. My next series coming out that's new it's called Water Song, and it will be fun. I am 27 years old. I live in Austin, Minnesota. I was born here and I've lived here most of my life. When I was a little kid, I was always telling stories. And then as soon as I could write, I was writing. Other kids were playing with each other and having fun and playing games, and I was usually off by myself either reading or writing. I finished my first book when I was 17. As soon as I finished writing it, I was sending it out, and I thought then it was going to be published and everything would just be kind of done from there. But then I kind of had the reality of the publishing world is much different than what I thought it would be. After I graduated from high school, I worked as a dishwasher for a little bit, and then I worked in group homes with people with disabilities as a caretaker for them. I would get done with work and I would come home and I would just write until, 9 or 10 in the morning. When I was working on a book, it would be usually 8 to 12 hours a day. Drank a lot of Red Bull, and I just focused on it. This is what I needed to do, and this is what I was going to do. Like when you first start dating someone and you're really excited to see them and you stay awake all night, but you don't mind because you're with them. It's like that kind of high where you're not tired even when you're tired. Writing's always been something that I did. It's like asking me, why do you like breathing? It's what I do. It's how I kind of function. I don't think I would really know how to function without it. Hamitakipi Iushkamachiankapie, Mankato Wachipi Ed Taya Yafipi. Is saying hello to my relatives. It's good to see you all. Welcome to Mankato Powwow.
I'd love to have people get to know us as we really are, and one good way of doing that is coming to a powwow and dancing with us, and you'll feel it out there. You really feel connected to the earth. The powwow is incredible, and if I could choose where to end my days on earth, if I could end it at a powwow, it'd be perfect. The powwow here is a reminder that we are the people who at one time were essentially the managers of all the resources in this entire region. And I think we were doing a great job. And we said in the beginning of life, there was nothing in the world, nothing existed except for God, the creator of Wakantanka. And from the creator's heart and mind, he created the heaven. And to indicate the heaven, he put up the sun. And our word for the sun is we. And to put a place for the humans to live, to create Mother Earth, the creator started with a large molten rock. We questioned where do we belong on the earth? And the creator said, when you come to the earth, step hard on the ground, on Mother Earth, and if that's where you belong, Mother Earth will hold you. If it's not where you belong, you pass through to another part of the earth. So when we came here to this part of the earth and stepped hard, and Mother Earth held us, we looked around and saw all the beauty of everything that was here. There were trees, there were birds, there were animals, the grass, everything was here before us, and we saw the beauty. And we were so impressed with that, we were so much in love with this place, that we gave a second step, a light step. The first hard step to see, do we belong here? And when Mother Earth held us, we took another light step, thanking the Creator for all the things that were already here. And that's our dance. A hard step, then a light step with one foot, and the same thing with the other foot. Every time you take a step and you're dancing, you're praying. You're thanking the Creator or thanking God for letting us be here.
Welcome to the Minnesota Marine Art Museum. What is the Minnesota Marine Art Museum? We are a young museum. We opened in July of 2006 in Winona, Minnesota. Our facility and gardens are on the banks of the Mississippi River, and we exhibit great art inspired by water. The museum has about 1,200 objects, everything from traditional marine, maritime-themed art to Hudson River School and Impressionism and some modern masters. The constant theme between the collections and what we always show, there has to be some sort of element to Rivertown culture, or whether it's a depiction of a body of water or a landscape that has water in it, or the culture that goes along with that. Those are some of the things that we're interested in showing. I think that's a unique thing. I mean, I guess I don't know of other art museums that are doing what we're doing. Museum audiences differ dramatically. One person might go for this reason, another might go for that reason. I think no longer do people necessarily, in younger generations, go to see a specific work of art. But younger generations are interested in meaningful and authentic experiences. You You can take music, for example, and how music is traded as a commodity and it's digital now. But what you're losing there is the authenticity in the actual object, which makes the object more valuable. This object has value because it was created with passion and with sincerity and attention to detail. It's all a part of an experience of visiting a museum. If we do our job right, your children, my children, and their children, and 7 generations will be able to experience the works in our collection in the same state that they exist in today. We also play an important role, I think, in working with and supporting living artists. I think everybody wants to be in a world where their child says, I want to be an artist, that can actually happen.
That's all for this episode. If you'd like to see more from any of the pieces we've shown you, just log on to our website, ksmq.org/off90, to see videos from any of our past seasons. See you next season, Off 90.
Funding for Off 90 is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.